And my guest, Jessica, today, she and I met about a month ago. She held a retreat for women in Washington, D.C., called the Selfish Retreat. And the branding really stood out for me. I think I came across your event on Eventbrite, Jessica. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I just really thought this sounds like something that would be helpful, for a lot of women. And I needed a break as well from, what I've got going on in my life. So I decided to come check it out. And it was a wonderful day. We'll give all of you some details on how this event actually, merges creativity and wellness. I thought that was a very different approach, Jessica, and really cool.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and read your bio. I'm going to be glancing over at my computer just so everybody knows. So Jessica Featherson is a visual and performing artist, creative professional, health coach, and fitness trainer who is deeply passionate about health and wellness and the unique interconnected relationship between the mind, body, and soul. She is the creator and curator of the lifestyle brand and wellness platform WellBody.WellSoul, and is also a graduate student at Rutgers University pursuing her MFA in dance. Her wellness platform was birthed out of a desire to not only share her passion, but to encourage individuals to treat and honor their bodies with the utmost love, care, and respect through holistic nutrition, fitness, and self-care. So that's what we're going to delve into today is, how Jessica is bringing this amazing work into the world, helping women in particular develop really strong wellness habits. And these are habits we all need for our life, but especially as business owners, we have to continuously work on how to make our lives sustainable so we can run our businesses.
Exactly.
So Jessica, I'm just curious to hear, how did you get started? How did you come up with this idea for WellBody.WellSoul?
It's so interesting because I've asked myself that question and I'm like, I don't remember the moment that it came into my head. But over the past 2 or 3 years, I've been in this intentional kind of self-work process where I had to really reevaluate where I was in my life because I didn't feel happy. I felt unfulfilled and that I wasn't living up to my fullest potential. And that really looking at me, I can't blame it on anyone else. I really have to look at me. What patterns, what are things that I'm doing? How can I, improve, or how can I be better? How can I be happy? How can I be at peace? So I write a lot. I've been writing in a journal since I was in the 5th grade. So every year of my life, I have a journal. And it's really great to look back on them and kind of see my progress and where my thoughts were and how much I've evolved. But I came across this letter that I wrote to myself, and I had no recollection of writing this letter. And when I read it, I just cried because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, it was just everything that I needed to hear. And I was like, I can't believe that these are my words. But it's just so powerful, your words, and just really speaking to yourself, speaking things into existence. So I've always been passionate about wellness and just health and just taking care of myself. I think when I was a kid, I stopped eating red meat and drinking sodas. I decided when I was 12, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore because, certain health issues run in my family. So I didn't want to continue the cycles and patterns. And I said, well, it has to be, I think ultimately it is lifestyle choice. So how can I combat these things now while I have it under control versus waiting till I'm diagnosed with something to then say, okay, well, now I have to get it together. So I think it started then. So that has always been an undergirding of my interest and my foundation. But it really kind of, really manifested after I graduated from Temple University, where I went to undergrad. Throughout that time, I felt really unhealthy. You're a poor college student, so you're going to eat whatever you can get, eating a lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods, fried foods, and I didn't feel good. And it affected my performance. You know, I'm really feeling weighted down. So I made a commitment to myself. I said, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm an artist. I'm a starving artist, but I'm going to really commit to eating well and researching and knowing where my food comes from, and how I can be empowered through those choices. So it really kind of started there. And, you know, again, with my writing, I write out a lot of ideas. I brainstorm, like I mind map, I do vision boards. And then somehow within all of that process of self-work and really wanting to establish something for myself that I can grow, and it was birthed from me, but it helps others, creating this ripple effect. That's kind of how WellBody.WellSoul was kind of created. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the exact day, but I don't know that yet. But I'm sure if I go back to my journals, it'll be there somewhere.
It definitely seems like an evolution of, you know, sharing your life passion. Like, I read the story that you shared on your website about your childhood and, you know, talking about your ancestors, like how you wanted to go a different direction. I think that's a really powerful story. Would you mind sharing a little bit of it for the people listening?
I think that I am what really guides or drives, I should say, my passion for this wellness brand and my mission is my mother. She passed away when I was 14 from a brain aneurysm. It was very sudden. I think that she knew maybe she was sick, or it was something that she tried to guard and protect. And again, that's one of those things as a mother, you have these instincts where you put everything else aside. You're like, okay, well, I have to focus on the children. I have to focus on the household. I have to focus on my husband, and I have to work, and I have to clean, and I have to do all of these things. But is it creating this pattern of self-neglect? So that also became a mission of mine. I said, okay, well, how can I just be conscious and mindful of how I'm treating myself as I evolve into a woman. And even when I become a mother, when I become a wife, how I have to be conscious of these things just to really protect my vessel. Because if I don't, then I can't be a good mother. I can't be a good wife if I'm not looking within first, you know? So I think that was a lot of the inspiration came from that, and seeing the same patterns within my sister, who is a mother, you know, and just everything falls on her. And I'm just always like, oh, please just take some time for yourself. Even if it's an hour, just lock the door in the bathroom and just breathe or do what you need to do. But it's so important to just take time for yourself and do what feeds your soul. So I think that's why I'm really passionate about connecting with women in that way, because there was or still is maybe a void in my life, and that I just always look to connect with women and empower them and encourage them, and kind of, you know, give them the knowledge to say, well, these are things that are happening and have happened or that can happen. So just as long as it's planted in your head, like, you know, you're aware. Because I think often we just go through the motions. We don't even realize that we neglect ourselves because this is our life, you know. But what if it's mindfulness, and it is consciousness, and it's self-initiated. It's all about self-work, self-care, self-improvement, self-evolvement, all, evolution, all of these things, self-initiated, right? So, and reprocessing, redefining how we look at selfishness, right? So that's another campaign and mission of mine, because I think there are negative connotations associated with that. But when it comes to your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional well-being, sometimes you do have to be selfish. It's necessary, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that. It's a cliche, but it's so true about putting the oxygen mask on for yourself.
Yeah.
And I just love that you created this whole retreat. I mean, there were so many things that inspired me about it. One was that you attracted, so many women, African-American women, people of color. And that's very unusual, I think, for the wellness world, for the wellness circles. So, just being able to spread this to people who really connect with you and you can share your wisdom. And then you had so many great speakers as well.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's really important for me, especially being a woman of color and working in the fitness industry, working in, or being, a voice in this wellness kind of industry. I, there are few of us, so I'm like, well, there needs to be more of our voices to say, well, no, this is a part of our story too, and we can be well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a luxury or something that is far attainable. There are little things that you can do to practice self-care and wellness and nutrition, so that is another mission of mine. And because I am a woman of color, I think that I will attract that. But this is also a universal story, a universal thing that everyone can connect with, women and men as well. So I don't want to disregard that. So that's what, I just, so yeah, I was so grateful with the outcome, and I really pushed. I was like, I have to be there. Like, we need this. All women need it, but especially women of color. I said, especially thinking about my mother and I really wanted to gear towards mothers. Like, you need to come and you need to be here to know that it's okay. You don't have to feel bad about it either. Taking time for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read on your website you're going to be offering that retreat coming up in New York next year. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to try and do it sometime in March because, with my school schedule is crazy, but I have a spring break. So my goal is to do it sometime in that time, so March. And then I definitely want to bring it back to DC because a lot of people didn't get to come and they're like, oh, I'm so sad I missed it. When is it coming back? Or people just want another one. So I think if I could have it more often, more frequently, that's my goal. So yeah.
And I love that you held it at a art center, the Congress Heights Arts and Cultural Center.
Yes.
Just really cool to have like a wellness, a lot of these events, they might be in a hotel or who knows, the back of a restaurant, but it was inspiring to see all this great art on the walls.
Yeah.
And then we did this art project, which I would love for you to share with everyone.
Sure.
Where we...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was really touched by the art project we did where we took flowers, fake flowers, and we made our crown. And I understand you have a reason for that. Like, it was really for self-empowerment, and I would love, what inspired you to do that?
Yeah. So one, the location was very intentional because I do believe that art is wellness. It is a part of a wellness practice. It is healing. It's stimulating, all of these different things. So that was very intentional. And I've held my vision board event there at that same space as well. So I love that space. And then as far as the art project, again, because I am an artist, I feel like art and creativity always finds its way in my creative projects. And that's why now I do consider myself, I'm a creative, I'm a performance artist, but I'm also a visual artist because visuals are very important to me. And I work with a lot of metaphors, like visual kind of metaphors and things like that. So, I'm always looking for inspiration. So I'm always like on Pinterest and I see like something and it inspires something in me. And so these flowers, I just had this vision to really become a physical manifestation of a flower. So if I'm planted in the dirt, like what kind of things do I need to pour back into myself to grow, to thrive, to flourish, to bloom in every season? So really wanting people to kind of, see themselves as that. You're delicate, you're intricate, you're rare, and you require special attention and intention. So that's how this whole kind of visual kind of concept came with even the promo visuals. It was all about I had the flower crown, and then I had a water cannon. I was actually pouring the water into into the flowers as this, pouring into myself. Is it curiosity? Is it strength? Is it love? Is it vitality? Is it literally food that I'm putting into my body? What is that doing to me, and how is it affecting me? And then, so with this crown, I said, well, a crown is symbolic, and it means royalty. It can mean so many different things. So that segment, the arts and crafts, it was called Crown Thyself. And so I think it was important to actually, the physical, like creating, you're putting it together. You created this crown, and then when you wear it with pride. What do you want it to represent? You know, so giving the participants those kinds of things to think about, and those questions, I think it empowers you in a different way. So even if you don't wear that crown every day, you have an invisible crown, you know, that no one can take away from you. So I think that's really important, especially for women. You have to, you know, walk with your head high, and you have to know thyself, crown thyself, love thyself, you know, again, this self thing. Yeah.
It was a beautiful exercise. I just loved watching everybody try to put theirs together. And yeah. I remember hearing other people, you know, we were all chatting, and people were saying, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And then you were giving out a prize. So it was like motivating people. And everybody came out with something that looked really cool.
Yes. I was very pleased. It was really lovely. It was really lovely. Yeah.
And I will post a link to your blog, because I saw you wrote a blog post after, and it has Jessica's picture in there of the crown that she did. Yeah. And it's just gorgeous. And I really think that I love that you did combine that image, your creativity actually in the marketing, I think attracted people, you know, to come to the event as well. Mm-hmm. I think I can say, you know, that is one big factor that attracted me. Okay. Is that type of, yeah.
Well, then the goal was completed then. Like, yes. You know, I mean, obviously, again, being a visual artist, you want striking images where it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's artwork. And I view myself, I am an extension of that. I am a livable art, you know. So when people look, they're intrigued, like, oh, what is it? I want to know more. Or how, you know. So yeah, that was intentional as well. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. I'm just glancing here at my questions. We definitely want to dive into talking more about your business. So you really focus on nutrition and fitness and at WellBody.WellSoul. Yes. And I'd love to know, you know, how do you get people to change their habits? You know, these two habits in particular are so ingrained. And do you have any success stories or, you know, just tips and tricks that people can relate to of how to go about changing their fitness and nutrition habits?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a hard one, because people always have the desire, like, oh, this year I'm going to do this, or like, I really want to do better, want to eat better. And they always have the desire, but the commitment to it is lacking, because it's work, you know? So I think prime example, and a lot of people will come to me inquiring or say, oh, I'm interested, but then it's like the follow up with that, or the follow through, doesn't always, you know, happen. And that's natural too. So it has to be a point where you become fed up and say, okay, well, no, now I'm really going to do this, because I'm really sick of I'm sick of feeling this way. You become fed up. And I think, like with my sister, for example, I call her for everything, and I just talk to her about everything. All of the things that I learned, I tell her. So I think she's like, okay, I have to get it together. So I studied at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition to get my health coach certification. And so every time I would learn a new lesson, I would always call her and say, oh my goodness, guess what I just learned? You can't eat this. The girls cannot eat this anymore. Like, you really have to read the labels. You really have to know where your meat is coming from. You know, so just always giving information. I never mind giving information. That's what I want to be, that access. So please ask me. I'm always willing to share. So people ask me, you know, for advice all the time. And so I love to give them tips and things that I've learned. And like with my sister, you know, after her second child, you know, it's an adjustment to kind of get back into your body and really feel confident again. So she was about to turn 30. I said, okay, well, why don't I put you on like a nutritional plan? It's don't think about restrictions. Just think about eliminating things that aren't really going to serve you. So, you know, and thinking about where you want to be, how you want to feel. So again, yeah, this weight that a lot of people we carry in our lives, whether it's visible or invisible. And I thought about my mother, and I said, what weight was she carrying? And just trying to think, you know, just all of the pressures that we have, and it's relationships. It can be career, it can be finances. All of these things can add weight. And so Erykah Badu, a neo soul artist, she has a very popular single, Bag Lady. And I said, oh, perfect. This is like, you know, the perfect kind of, you know, relationship. It just goes perfectly. So I said, I'm going to play this song and kind of do a visual representation of carrying all of this weight. And then it was a time in my life where I just felt really weighted down by a lot of just being in a awful relationship, or just not really being happy, or lost, and guilt and grief. All of these things you carry with you, but if you don't, you know, sort through your baggage, this luggage, this weight, it will follow you in every phase of your life. And again, thinking about generationally how we pass this weight and baggage on. So I'm just trying to be mindful and conscious about, you know, repeating patterns and cycles that are self-sabotaging. So I think that's how that kind of morphs. And it was just really important for me to kind of spread that message. And a lot of people, it was really well received. And they said that song just took on a whole new meaning for them with that visual accompaniment with that. So I was happy that it was successful in that way. And I definitely want to keep expanding and working with that. Yeah.
Well, again, I just really appreciate the creativity. And I think, you know, that kind of live interaction and almost like theater, you know, it's like theater exactly. for wellness exactly. in a way. Exactly. And I think it just helps people learn, you know, not everybody learns through a PowerPoint. So
yes.
So it's just really cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And is there anything else you want to add, Jessica, about what you have upcoming, or just any other tips you want people to know about wellness?
Wellness is empowering. I think it's, you know, and self-care, you know, this is a campaign and a mission of mine, just really trying to redefine how we think about it and how we understand it, and that it doesn't have to be a shallow thing. It doesn't have to be you know, this kind of how we know selfishness to be. I want to look on the other end of the spectrum and say, you know, I am taking time for myself so that I can give to others, and I can thrive in my career. I can thrive. My creativity can remain high. You know, all of these different things, and the self-improvement, self-work, self-care, self-love. It's so important. So I just want to keep spreading that. Again, you can follow me, WellBody.WellSoul on Instagram, have my website, WellBody.WellSoul.com, to stay up to date on other events. I'll be doing another Selfish retreat in the new year, so definitely stay tuned with that. And Squeeze, my other platform, is the vision board soiree that I hold every December. So this will be the second one this coming December. And again, it's working with another metaphor with a lemon, and how we look at this simple lemon, but you can do so much with this lemon. And squeezing the lemon activates power, and it manifests things, right? It becomes something, it becomes tangible. So I use this metaphor in my vision board party with my partner, Marcus, from All Hail the Creatives. And we created this really inspiring evening for creatives, entrepreneurs, or just anyone looking to just achieve goals. And this coming one will be held December the 16th. And it's a vision board soiree. It's a whole evening of just manifesting abundance and achieving your goals, and just talking in a supportive space about the things, your intentions, and the things that you want to do. Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll link all of that up, all of your social media and websites and everything. And yeah, again, I hope everybody goes and checks out the blog post that Jessica had about Selfish, because that will give you an idea of, you know, how this event came together and how unique it is.
Yes,
just to be able,
thank you.
and I would love to encourage you, Jessica, just in closing, to share your story about how you got started on the path to wellness. Yes. I saw you had a video on your website, and I would encourage you, you know, to share that story as much as possible, because people really connect with stories. And if there's a way to, you know, have a video with that on your website as well, I think that would really attract people.
Awesome.
So
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Jessica. And I'm so grateful we got to meet, and all of the other wonderful speakers at your event. It was so cool to see them as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a beautiful day.
You too. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.